Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Today is a full moon day of Waso. So, the beginnings of the Buddhist Lent for 3 months. So today's Dhamma talk is how does this Wasa come about and its significance in Buddhism. Full moon day of July or full moon day of Waso. There are two significant days in Buddhism. One is a Buddha day and another one is Dhamma day. The full moon day of May or Wasak is a Buddha day. In the year 2000, United Nations has recognized that day as an international holiday. And another day is, we'll call it the Dhamma day. This is the full moon day of July. Waso. The significance of this particular day is the Buddha was conceived on this day, and also Buddha renounced the worldly pleasures on that day, and also the Buddha delivered the first sutta, discourse or sermon, the turning of the wheel of Dhamma, the Dhammacakkappavattana, on that day. And also perform the twin miracles on the full moon days of July. As most people are aware, on that day, the Dhammacakkappavattana, the turning of the wheel of Dhamma, the first sermon was delivered. So we call it a Dhammacakka day or simply Dhamma day. So there are 4 significant events of Buddha's life taking place on those full moon days of July. Let's see one event at a time. The first one is conception. Buddha's mother is Maya Devi, and his father was King Sudarsana. And Mother Maya Devi, on that full moon night, dreamt 4 devas came down and carried her to a pool in a cave of Silver Mountain in the Himalayas. And the female devas gave the queen a bath and then placed her on a place suitable for sleeping. Let's call it a bed. Place her on the bed. And then a big white elephant came down from the sky, suckled the queen 3 times, and then entered the body from the right side of the body. Basically, it's a womb, but didn't say it is womb. Enter the elephant, enter her body from the right side. And then she woke up. So, as the dream was quite strange and unique, she told the king Sudarsana. And in those days, the kings have all the prophets and wise men. He has 4 great wise men. Brahmanas are the intellectual class. So the top 4 prophets, Brahmana, he told them about the dreams and asked them, what does it mean? And then the 3 elder Brahmanas predict that the queen conceived, specifically a son. With that dream, on that night, the queen conceived a son. And that son will become an emperor or a Buddha. That was their interpretation of the dream. The youngest Brahmana said, no, definitely he will become a Buddha. That was the youngest Brahmana interpretation of the dream. So that was the conception of the Buddha on the full moon day of July, the first event. And the second event is renunciation. The Buddha grew up at 16, got married. He was married happily up to the age of 29, so 13 years. And then on that 13 years, he got a son. The son's name was Rahula. And again, on that particular full moon day of July, just before that, he saw 4 great signs. Just use the word great. It's a very old, weary person. And second one was very ill and sick person. The third one was a corpse. And then the fourth one was a holy man who renounced everything so that he could eliminate all the sufferings of the world, full signs. After he saw those full signs, after his son was born, he got a sense of urgency. Basically, it is old age, sickness, and death. The cycle that the human goes through, old age, sickness, and death. And the holy man is how to overcome those events or suffering. So he got a great sense of urgency and decided, no, this whole thing is an illusion. It is just a mass of suffering, and I am going to find, so to speak, deathless. Old age, sickness, and death end with death. This deathless, or the end of all form of suffering. I'm going to search for it. With that thought, he left his kingdom. He abandoned everything, his titles, wealth, prince, family, and he left on the day so that he can go and look for the truth, which is the end of all form of suffering. And then he practiced for 6 years, austerity programs, whatever programs that they are popular at that time, and whatever he can think of. He practiced austerity programs for 6 years to the extreme. And on the 6th year, he practiced to the point that the skin falls on the bone. That's why we see some Buddha images, just a hollow, just bone, hollowed eyes and all bones protruding out under the skin. That was the epic of that austerity. So as he practiced to that extreme, he also have 5 other ascetics, people who are practicing in the forest. They were so impressed by him, they look after him, whatever his deeds are. But on the 6th year, he couldn't find the solution. So he reflected, this cannot be the right way. So he began to start eating a little bit of food and drinks, water, and so on. And at that point, the 5 ascetics who looked after him said, no, this Siddhartha Gautama, he's also a washout. Okay, he has given up this. So we are looking after a wrong person who might not find the truth. Then abandoned him and went to another forest. And after he started eating these food and drink, and he began to practice the middle path. So that is the day of renunciation, the full moon day of July, where he renounced everything and went in search of the truth. Second significant day. The third one is the first sermon or the first discourse Buddha delivered. So he was practicing on his own alone, and eventually he got enlightened. We all know the day of enlightenment is the full moon day of May, the Buddha day. He got enlightened. After his enlightenment, he spent 49 days around that banyan tree. Was in Buddha Gaya. Then he used 7 different spots in the vicinity of the banyan tree, 7 days at each spot, and he enjoyed the bliss of enlightenment and reflect upon all his discovery, of course, the Dhamma. And after the 49th day, he got up and see, who should I teach? And the first and foremost is, 2 people came to his mind. There was a 2 great Brahmin professor, let's call it. He learned the jhana, 8 jhana, and a part of 9 jhana from those 2 before he started practicing on his own for austerity. So he felt some gratitude towards them. And when he looked at where they are with his Deva eye, they passed away already and were reborn in the formless Brahma realm. So they cannot hear what the Buddha would be teaching. So he left, okay, can't do anything. And he thought about the 5 ascetics who helped him or who attended him during the 6 years. Oh, I should show my gratitude towards them. And he knows where they are, like with his Deva eye. So that's on the 49th day, which means full moon day of May, full moon day of June, so another half into July. He started walking probably about 10 days, 11 days. And then on the full moon day of July, he arrived to the place where those 5 ascetics were practicing on their own. It's a deer park. Okay. They are practicing, and when these 5 ascetics saw him coming, hey, there came the Gautama, the washed out. We will not pay respect when he come here, when we arrived here. But when the Buddha got close to them, they couldn't resist because of his presence. So finally they gave him a seat and welcomed him. And to make the long story short, the Buddha delivered his first sermon, the Satipatthana, the turning of the wheel of Dhamma, on the full moon day of July, to these 5 ascetics. Started there. For 5 days, he gave this discourses on that, and also on the Sutta of non-self. And at the end of 5 days, all the 5 ascetics became arahat. And they are the first 5 disciples of the Buddha. And as it is July in India, that's the beginning of the rainy season. So the Buddha and the 5 arahants spent in that deer park for the first Buddhist Lent 3 months. So the third significant day is Buddha delivered the Dhammacakkappavattana on the full moon day of July, right after his May, June, July, 2 months after his enlightenment. Now, the fourth significant event. That's a twin miracle. Okay, in English, we just translate it to twin miracle. On the 7th year after his enlightenment, Buddha was residing at Rajagaha city. Okay. And in that city, everything is related to a person. This whole twin miracle is really started with the person. It is a son of a very wealthy person that lives there. And the unique thing about that son is, at that time in India, there are a lot of great philosophers and religious leaders. Amongst them, 6 are the most famous religious leaders. They have their own followers and groups. So seems like that era is a buzz for all the great knowledge and religions and philosophy. But this gentleman did not follow any religious leader because he doesn't know who is right and who is wrong, or what is the truth and what is false. So he didn't follow, but most of the people, they follow certain religious leaders. And one day, that gentleman took a bath in the river. Okay, so it's very wealthy in the river. And what they did is, as they are quite rich and wealthy, they put a net, okay, on a certain part of the river, just above where the gentleman was going to take a bath, so that no debris or branches or logs would flow down and hit him. So a net there, taking a bath. And in that net caught many things, but among them one is a big, let's call it a sandalwood. Sandalwood. And it was said the sandalwood is even more expensive than the same weight in gold. So very expensive. Got a sandalwood big log. So they fish out the sandalwood, and he decided to carve a alms bowl out of the sandalwood. He carved the sandalwood alms bowl. And then he decided to put a 90-foot pole, and on top of the pole he put that sandalwood alms bowl. And then he declared across the city, whichever religious leader is welcome to take it if you can. And whoever succeeds in taking it, I will follow that religious leader. So to make a big announcement, so everybody knows about it. 90-foot pole stood up right there. It's in the eyes of the public. And everybody knew about the challenge by the gentleman. So everybody watched, whisper, talk, and nobody dared to go and take. Nobody showed up to take it. So it is the 7th year after Buddha's enlightenment. And then Buddha has arahants. There are 2 arahants, of course, and we all know Arahat Moggallana is the left-hand disciple of the Buddha, and his psychical powers are bar none, next to the Buddha. He was talking with another Arahant who also have psychical power, and that Arahant name was Pe'inara Lakha. Pe'inara Lakha. 2 of them were talking. So they were discussing So it will be a great opportunity if we go and take that bowl, then people will know about it, and then this rich man's son will follow Buddhism, and along with him all the people, all his clans will come along with it. That's a great opportunity. So two of them talk about it, and Arahant Moggallana created a situation where everybody's attention is there. I won't go into details what it did, but everybody was aware of that moment and focused on that bowl. And then the other Arahant, Pe'enara Lakha, he went into his jhana, and then with the jhanic power he flew up there and took the bowl and came down. So the rich man's son, as he promised, he invited the two Arahants to his house, offer a meal, and he said, from today's onward, I am your follower. I will follow whatever you are practicing or teaching. And of course, they are the disciple of Buddha. So automatically, he became the follower or devotee of the Buddha. That's how it becomes. So, but everybody was aware of it, this whole event. So, because of that, there's a Buddha at the Veluvana monastery. Veluvana monastery. So the people, everybody goes, just like, you hear some news and then everybody go and look at it, something strange and new, the same thing. The people went there and make a lot of noises. So the Buddha will say, why such noises? And then the Arahant explained to the Buddha, so he became aware of it. And at that time, so to speak, the Buddha scolded the Arahant who flew up there and take the bowls. And from that event, the Buddha put a discipline, a vinaya, for the monks to follow. No monks must use the psychical power to recruit a follower or devotee. You can recruit a follower by teaching and explaining the Dhamma, the wholesomeness, and how to live correctly. Only that venue is open. No one must use psychical power to recruit. So that's how the Buddha put these vinaya or discipline for the monks, not like all in one stroke. Whenever an event arose, he put a certain rule not to do this or that. And then the monks' vinaya or disciplines come about that way during the 45 years of his Buddha's ministry. So, all the people heard about it. Oh, great. And the news went on. 2,500 years ago, internet went on. And the other 6 religious leaders, this is a great opportunity for us to defeat this Buddha. So they decided and they announced across the city, put a challenge to the Buddha. We are going to have a challenge, competition for psychical power, and see whether we are better or you are better, who wins. That challenge went on. But the Buddha just put the rule set out. Nobody must use. At that time, there is a king in that city, okay? King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara is he himself is a Satipatthana, the first stream winner, and the devotee of the Buddha. So he was become really alarmed. Okay. My gosh, we are in a very vulnerable spot now. Doesn't know what to do. And probably because of the rule, the Arahants cannot compete, and the people will flow back to the other groups. So he was worried and finally came to the Buddha and asked for advice. What should I do? There's a challenge going on across the city and the kingdom. And the Buddha just asked him, "Oh great king, did you have any rules set in your garden? I understand that nobody is allowed to pick from your favorite mango tree at the center of the garden, king's garden." The king said, "Yes, I put that rule. Nobody must pick or pluck mango from that tree." And the Buddha keep on asking, "But did you go and pick it?" "Yes, I went and picked there, because it is my tree and I set the rule." And the Buddha said, "Just look at the king." And suddenly the king got the message. Even though the king put out the rule that nobody can pick, but he could pick. So in the similar way, the Buddha set out the discipline for the monks, but he can under a proper and suitable condition. So the Buddha told the king just to announce that 4 months from now, which falls on the full moon day of July, 4 months per time, there will be a great psychic contact. Whoever is challenging there, the Buddha will be there. At the place is Savatthi. In Savatthi, 4 months from now, on the full moon of July, there will be a psychical context. So when that day arrived, the crowd across the country came over and watched and looked to see the big psychic contacts. And no other religious leader showed up. Only Buddha was there. So Buddha sit there, and then at Savatthi under a mango tree, and then he performed a twin miracle. Twin miracle is he emits both water and fire from his body, because water and fire are two elements that is totally opposed one to the other. One destroy the other, or one dominate the other. It cannot be done. I think it's the highest of all the psychical expression. Flying in the sky, going through the mountain, those are the easy stuff. But from his each pore, one is water, another pore fire. So the people will watch in awe, because they know that is the highest miracle that one can perform. He performed those twin miracles, and after that he went to the Davidinsa. It is a Dewa Ram. He went to Dewaram on the same day of full moon day of July after a twin miracle to show gratitude to his late mother. That late mother passed away only a few days after he was born, and she was reborn as a Deva in the Theravada. He went there, and the Buddha taught Abhidhamma for 3 months, dedicated to his ex-mother, and all the Devas and Brahmas from across the galaxy come and listen, and also the human. For the human, the Buddha relay a short verse to Satipatthana every day. Because every day the Buddha left his clone in the Theravada still teaching, but he came down to the human realm to go for the alms round. That's how he has to eat. And at that moment, he gave a short verse to Satipatthana, the Abhidhamma. And then Satipatthana again taught to his fellow monks Abhidhamma. So there are 3 versions. One is a very long version. It's for the Devas and the Brahma. And there's a very short, precise version. Just 1 line, 2 line maybe, for Satipatthana. And there's the middle length, is what the Satipatthana taught to the other monks. And the one we are following is the middle length one, the one we are reading, studying, practicing, understanding. That is the middle length Abhidhamma, what we know. And from that Abhidhamma teaching, many beings benefited, including humans. So that is the 4th significant effect took place in the full moon day of July. 4 significant events. So that is the Dhamma day, or the full moon day of July, or full moon day of Waso. So this is more like a historical event. And as we celebrate this full moon day every year, the Buddhists, and right after that, the monks stay put in one place for 3 months, from the full moon day of July to full moon day of October. They don't travel, they stay put in one place. That's called the Buddhist Lent, 90 days. So it is important for us to know all the events that happen on those full moon day of July. But most of us know as the day of Dhammacakkappavattana, or Dhamma day. The Buddha's first sermon, the turning of the wheel of Dhamma, was delivered on that day. Everybody is quite aware of that, but there are also other 3 events: conceptions, renunciation, and twin miracle. It's nice to know, nice to have information about Buddhism that we are practicing. But most importantly is the practice, mindfulness, insight meditation, the contribution by the Buddha to the world. May all of you be able to practice mindfulness, insight meditation, and may you be able to liberate yourself from all form of suffering as soon as possible. Sadhu, Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.